It is my pleasure to welcome the Begleys. Ed Begley is a Valley College alum, as is Edward, and also Rachel Begley, along with Ray Gonzales. And this is wonderful to have so much of our community here to join us in this conversation with the Begleys on the dark green movement. Sustainability has been important to the college, evidenced by the LEED buildings and consistent dialogue on campus about recycling, sustainable landscaping, and the possibility of recycling our own gray water. The campus has been active in greening our curriculum and hosting Go Green workshops to educate our students and faculty to be green ambassadors. The Begleys set a clear example for all of us, and we appreciate their efforts to educate us all on sustainable approaches to living. So thank you for being here.
Since 1970, he's been an environmentalist, and beginning with his first electric vehicle was a golf cart, and then he got into recycling business, and then he became a vegan. Are you still a vegan?
I am.
Please describe that. What is that?
It's a non-dairy vegetarian. It's a vegetarian, but I don't eat any cheese or eggs or anything like that.
And likewise, Michelle?
It's a very difficult dinner guest.
Ed, but you started thinking about in 1970 about becoming an environmentalist. What was the reason for that? Did you read something? Did something happen in your household? What was the reason?
Good question. I was here at Valley College in 1970, by the way. I started here. In September 1967, but 1970, even though it's a two-year college, I was still here. By the way, I got to say, great theater arts department here, great cinema department here. I learned a trade. I got into the union, into NABET, National Association of Broadcasting Engineers and Technicians. Because of training I got right here at Valley College. I made a living because of this fine institution. But I was here in 1970, and it was an idea 20 years in the making, Ray. I finally, and Enrique will respond to this, I'm sure, it was the smog that really got me involved. It was living 20 years, 2 decades in smoggy LA. There are other influences. The first Earth Day was a very positive thing that got me really, okay, this is the day we're all going to do something. My father was a conservative who liked to conserve. He was a very good influence on me, Boy Scouts and all that. But the biggest influence was sadly a negative one. I couldn't run from here to the back of this theater, even though it was indoors on a smoggy day. I couldn't catch my breath. It was horrible. Outside it was worse. Even inside, in those years, it was so bad, Ray. So by 1970, when the first Earth Day got organized, I went, I'm going to do something, and that was the catalyst. It was the dirty air.
And it's ironic that many people here weren't even a twinkle in their parents' eye during that time, so they don't remember the smog as we remember.
And it's still bad. Yeah. Let me not mislead the young people here. Say, Ed said the smog's, better. Clean up. I'm not saying that. It is better, though.
We had incinerators in the back of our yards.
We had incinerators, folks, in our backyards. We were mandated to burn our trash in our backyards. To burn up cardboard and plastic. There was a lot less plastic back then. But burn all this stuff up, and they would pick up the tin cans. Very few aluminum cans back then. It was mostly tin cans and glass. They'd pick that up the rest of you to burn in your backyard. This in a thermal inversion layer valley that we lived in, and also the LA basin with the prevailing wind coming 362 days a year coming from the ocean, and it sat there with that lid on top of it. It was horrible. It was really bad. And this is part of a success story we must recognize. We got lots of work to do, folks, with the smog, but even though we have 4 times the cars from 1970, we have half the smog.
Why do you think the Native Americans used to call this bowl where we live today?
The Valley of the
Smoking, the Valley of the Smoke?
Valley of the Smokes, yes. Because just building their fires, they had fires long before the Spanish settlers even came. Of course, the Chumash, the Gabrielino, the Tonga people were here long before. But the smoke, you would come over the Cahuenga Pass, before it was called the Cahuenga Pass, come over Newhall Pass before it was called that, any of those places, and you would see it would be smoke in the valley. But it was nothing. Let me be clear. It was nothing like when we had the power plants out in the East San Fernando Valley. Those power plants that still exist today that were changed over to burn on cleaner fuels many years ago. The combined cycle gas turbines now, they ran on very dirty fuels years ago. And cars were dirtier, and all the boilers and industrial furnaces used the dirtier fuels. And here's an important thing to note. In those years, we did most of the cleaning up of LA air from 1970 to 2005. A lot of businesses thrive. The people who made catalytic converters, the people who made combined cycle gas turbines, the people who made spray paint booths, and all those things big and small that we did, they said wouldn't work. They did work. The air is a lot cleaner.
Rachel, Rachelle, how did you get into it?
Yes.
What year was it?
What year? Excuse me?
Very recently, child bride.
Let's just say I was around in 1970. So I was named Rachel Carson. After Rachel Carson, my father, loved the land. That's the extent of it. And then, it was the 70s. Everyone was sort of saving something, and I liked it. I thought about it. I didn't like the pollution, and I, would rail against it. But and then I took up other causes, women's issues and children and all those things. And then I met Ed. And
what a wonderful day that was.
I always say, if you want to get involved in the environment, meet someone who's more involved. Someone you like, you want to impress, get involved.
Now, when Ed gets totally involved in something like this,
Yes.
are you in total agreement with him?
No.
Give me one disagreement.
Well, it's usually
Just one?
One.
One for the
Okay, I'll tell you one that's going on currently in my house.
Okay.
Is the water, the gray water system. A very well-meaning system. We're trying it out. It's good for the plants and everything, except that it is gray, and it is in our toilets. And it's gray.
The gray water is used to flush the toilet, rather than using fresh water, clean, pure, potable water to flush the toilet. It's going down the toilet anyway. So the notion is to use this gray water, this recycled water, to flush the toilet.
It's very unsightly.
I read about that.
Yeah, and so it's a learning curve. It's getting used to that. Look, I can't quite get used to it, nor can I get used to. Sometimes the filtration isn't working properly, and the smell. So I just like, okay, this is the line. I will do it all. We'll do it in the other bathrooms, but in my bathroom, the gray water has to get taken
There's
out.
a compromise. We're taking it out of her bathroom, leaving it in the other bathroom.
And
Gray water, she's got the
Exactly. And we use the gray water in the bathrooms. It's just those two bathrooms, but then it's used to irrigate the whole property. All that is irrigated by the gray water, and then it's in one bathroom and not the other now.
Is that what the golf courses are using now?
They are. In fact, ours is actually not gray water. To be fair, it is municipal, residential recycled water. The same as, it's purple pipe water, the same thing they use.
if it were purple, it would still be in my toilet. I guarantee you
Well, the
that.
pipe is purple, so you don't have a plumber a decade or three from now. Don't confuse it and put it up to a water fountain somewhere. It looks different, it is different, and plumbers know what purple pipe means. So you would never put it to your ice maker, to your drinking water fountain or something.
If you had a magic wand, and you were at the governor's office right now, and we had all this money to spend, I want you to jump into it, Michelle. Don't hesitate. What would be the first thing on the agenda?
A home energy audit for every home in America that wanted it. A free
energy
home energy audit. That's what I would do. Just a clipboard audit like a guy comes through. You need some compact fluorescent bulbs. You need to do an energy-saving thermostat, the kind of thing I had in the late 80s. Today's home energy audit with a blower door, with duct blasting, with an infrared camera so you can really look and see.
Your husband said a home energy audit. What would be number 2, Michelle?
Education. I mean, really educating, driving it home.
And summarize the small ticket items. We're going to go on to another aspect.
Energy-saving light bulbs, energy-saving thermostat, weather stripping around your doors and windows. Other cheap stuff you can do, you're going to save money, riding a bike when weather and fitness permit, taking public transportation if it's available near you, home gardening, home composting, everything I just mentioned. Dirt cheap, you will be into payback in the first billing cycle, the first month, same as it happened to me in 1970. You'll have extra money in your pocket right away. Then you can save, maybe buy a solar oven after 6 months or a year. You could buy a rain barrel to collect your rainwater, put some attic insulation a year and a half later, buy solar hot water, not solar electric. Solar hot water is cheaper, and boom, boom, just ratchet up. I advise people to do it exactly the way I did.